So let's talk about how Ryan Coogler has pretty much broken Hollywood with his movie Sinners. Now, I'm not talking about the actual movie itself, which I've heard is fantastic. On my list of movies to see this weekend, it's had a great opening weekend and it is currently #1 at the box office, which is amazing. I'm a big Ryan Coogler fan. What I'm talking about is the behind the scenes negotiation and some of the perks he was able to walk away with. Now, not only did he seek $90 million to make this movie, he had some additional requests which aren't too common, and him getting those requests kind of has Hollywood in a panic. So much so that one studio executive anonymously said it may be the end of studios as we know it. Now let's get into his requests. So first, he asked to retain control of the final cut, what the movie looked like at the end. Second, he asked for first gross profits. Now what this means is that from the moment Sinners was released, he has been making money from the movie. This isn't really normal, and this isn't the way that it normally happens. What normally happens is that producers, directors, and anyone else with a stake in the movie doesn't really start to make money on the movie until it becomes profitable. Who starts making money from the movie in the beginning is the movie studio or finances of the movie. But in this case, when Sinners was released, from the very moment it was released, Ryan Coogler has been making money, and I absolutely love that for him. Third, and probably what I consider most important to me as an IP attorney and someone who works with brands, creators, and entrepreneurs to protect their intellectual property and leverage it, is ownership. In 25 years, ownership of the movie Sinners will revert back to Ryan Coogler. What that means is that the studio will no longer own the movie and Ryan Coogler will own it in its entirety. Now let that sink in, because when you think about it, ownership of movies is how studios make money. Because beyond the movie being released and all the money they make from the opening weekend and the length of the movie while it's in the theaters, there are also licensing deals, there are also sequels, redistributions, deals with Netflix, pay-per-view, things like that. Studios can continually make money from one movie for years to come, even if that movie was released decades ago. They can continue to make money by leveraging ownership of the movie and the rights of the movie. In 25 years, all that power is going to go back to Ryan Coogler. I love this deal, and I think this is such an amazing thing because I don't always see creators embracing ownership. Far too often I see creators willing to give away their intellectual property for pennies on the dollar, or in some cases free. Why? Because they don't understand the value of the intellectual property they have, and they don't understand how to leverage it. Now, if you're watching this, you may say, come on, it's Ryan Coogler. Black Panther, Creed, he already has a track record. Who is going to say no to that? But remember that the deal he got away with isn't really common. I mean, it has Hollywood freaked out because the fear is if he got this deal, are other people going to want to get this deal? Are other people going to refuse to have movies made until they get ownership within a certain amount of time? What does this mean? Now, I'm not saying everybody is going to be able to do that, and according to him, this will be the only movie that he's seeking ownership of. But why this is important is that he knew his worth and he knew what he wanted and he acted accordingly. Far too often I see creators, influencers, and even entrepreneurs give away ownership of their IP. You're giving away so much money, you don't know what you're giving away, and someone else is making money from your hard work, simply because you didn't understand the value of your intellectual property, or you just didn't know how quite to leverage it. Now, everyone's talking about the creator economy and streaming and all of that. All of that is great. But what no one is talking about is how important ownership is. Now, if you owned your streaming deal, or if you had ownership in a series that you were creating, think about how much more money you could make by being able to leverage that. Just think about it for a second. So if you're watching this, what I want you to be thinking about is, yes, you may not be Ryan Coogler. Yes, you may not be a billion-dollar movie producer who has this amazing track record, but you still have intellectual property which is valuable. You still have intellectual property which can be leveraged and continue to make you money. You don't have to be Ryan Coogler level to be able to own your intellectual property fully and think of ways to leverage it. You just need to have ownership and be strategic when it comes to leverage. Now, if you want to learn more about ownership of intellectual property, types of intellectual property, how to make sure that you fully own your intellectual property, and the different ways in which you can continue to leverage your intellectual property to grow your business, scale your empire, and continue to get paid, subscribe to this channel because that is what I will be sharing in the weeks to come.